morning again, everyone. Here we are. We're back this morning talking to Lawrie Smith and former Lord Mayor of Brisbane, Sally-Anne Atkinson. And we are talking in relation to the Japanese gardens. Now, as Lawrie knows, I have spoken to our patron, Sir Frank Moore, this morning. And Sally-Anne, in the previous YouTube, you actually touched on something that Sir Frank was quite keen on seeing developed, and that is the business links that were occurring, because the Japanese gardens at Mount Coot-tha, the relocated gardens at Mount Coot-tha, were incredibly important during Expo, because they sort of established the business credentials of Queensland to what was emerging at the time to be our biggest tourist customer. And since that time, they have not developed as forecast, and the Chinese tourist market has come onto the scene, and at the moment has gone off the scene because of COVID, and we'll watch, no doubt, with great interest to see what does emerge in the months and years to come. Anyway, so Frank was particularly keen to see the tourism aspect fleshed out, and I don't think there's any better person than yourself, Sally-Anne, because the Japanese gardens, as they were relocated, they were actually the very first new tourist attraction that Brisbane secured or developed to further the interest and the narrative of tourism that Expo 88 brought to the city.
And I think it's significant for Japanese tourists to have something Japanese here. I think we all know when you travel overseas, when you go to Paris, for example, you like to go to Josephine's garden at Malmaison because she had the black swans and the Australian plants. So you like to find a little bit of your own culture in a foreign place. But just touching on the business links, at that time, 1988, Japanese investment in Queensland was really strong. There were the golf course developments on the Gold Coast, there were resorts on the coast and up at Yeppoon, and Japan really was not just a big investor, they were a real investor. They were present, they were here. So these links were very important then, and of course the tourism followed. And as you say, it's not been so strong in recent years, and certainly not strong at all now, but I do think it is very important and very significant for people in Japan to know that we do have these gardens. And I think one of the most important things, Lawrie, about the gardens is that there are Australian plants in the Japanese style. So that's really a true connection. That's really a real, genuine coming together. We're not trying to steal their plants. We're not trying to do something Japanese here. We're doing Australian plants in the Japanese way. In the Japanese way, the whole Japanese culture, their whole style is significant and important to humanity, I think.
It is. Yeah, I agree, Sally-Anne. It's an amazing thing what's been done there, the fact that using our Australian native plants there, and because of the way Kenzo Ogata chose them and then managed them, pruned them and whatnot, then they've adopted that character that is so traditional. And that is the magic thing, I think, that you've got this garden that is primarily Australian natives, and it is a wonderful link between the two nations.
It's been absolutely maintained in a pristine fashion. I mean, when I was out there, and people can see the photos of my visit last Sunday, and it is just a tribute to Dale Arvison, the condition. I've never seen it as healthier, and it really looked happy. I mean, I don't know if you could have a happy garden, Lawrie, but it looked very happy.
Yeah,
Oh,
it is.
of course you have a happy garden, and you have, there are sad and dark and sad, miserable gardens, which perhaps are good for reflection, but a happy garden, which is all about bringing people together. You want to come together in a happy way, not a sad way.
That's right, yeah. And that was the whole story of Expo, wasn't it? What we created there with all those different precincts, it was the happiest place in the world, I think Sir Lou said.
And this, I think, Peter, I think this is why Expo has continued to be significant. One reason, of course, is because of you and the way you have kept it going. But for everybody in Brisbane over a certain age, Expo was a happy moment in time. For the bus drivers of Brisbane, they felt great at the time. Everybody, for the school kids who went after school, for people of my parents' generation who had tea at 5 o'clock and then went to bed, they were actually going out. They discovered that you could eat slightly later and you could eat outdoors. So much about Brisbane changed as a result of Expo. And I think really that happiness, the fact that people felt that happy emotion is very significant now and will continue onwards.
It will.
That's right.
And with that, we might break off, but we will be back with a little bit more because I am keen to get Lawrie's description of the process of explaining the differences between the Japanese garden as it was at Expo and how it was, I'm assuming, grown a little bit and enhanced. So thank you everyone for watching, and we'll be back in a minute. Thank you.
Oh, and then I heard your voice.